There was a time when justice meant balance, when the law was sacred and power needed.
Today, we're going to a funeral, but, not for a person, for an idea. We're going to explore the pretty dramatic story of how our whole concept of justice came to be, and how, according to the source for this explainer, it might have died. So this is the story of the life, the death, and maybe, just maybe, the resurrection of an ideal. You can really feel the loss in those words, right? This idea of a time when law and truth were basically the same thing. And that's really the heart of our journey today, this feeling that something fundamental, something sacred, has been completely broken.
So, what happened? I mean, if that world of sacred law is really gone, where did it go? To get to the bottom of this, we've got to go way, way back, to a time when justice meant something that might seem totally alien to us now.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. We're in a world where justice wasn't even seen as a human invention. Nope, it was considered a divine principle, a natural force that was as real and as constant as, say, gravity or sunlight. And what's wild is that this idea popped up all over the place. I mean, look at this. In ancient Egypt, they called it ma'at. Over in Greece, it was deg. In Israel, it was the Torah. The names were different, sure, but the core idea was exactly the same. Justice was woven right into the fabric of the universe itself.
And that all pointed to this one big idea, cosmic alignment. See, the law wasn't just some list of do's and don'ts from a king. It was a pathway, a way to keep all of human society in sync with the divine order of the cosmos. The whole point was cosmic balance, not just human punishment.
Just think about the weight of that for a second. Breaking the law wasn't just you getting in trouble with the local authorities. A crime was seen as an act that literally sent a ripple of chaos across the entire cosmos. I mean, that's a profoundly different way of seeing the world, isn't it?
But as you can probably guess, that cosmic vision, well, it didn't last. Our next section here marks the great turning point in this story. This is where humanity starts to take control, to systematize, and ultimately to redefine justice in its own image.
You can just see the progression here, can't you? It starts with law as this divine revelation. Then Rome comes along and systematizes everything, codifying power into this rigid man-boyd structure. And then, with the church's canon law, even morality itself gets turned into a kind of bureaucracy.
And yeah, this is what happened next. Once justice was firmly in human hands, it kind of stopped being about cosmic truth and started being about, well, earthly things. Things like convenience for the people in charge and control over everybody else. The sacred was basically traded for the practical.
It really all boils down to this one kind of devastating sentence. We replaced revelation with regulation. The voice of the divine was swapped out for the pen of a clerk.
All right, so this brings us to the final act in this whole tragedy of justice. Right here in the modern era is where those last few threads connecting law to something sacred were just completely severed.
The Enlightenment, for all the good it did, it also cut that connection between spirit and law. Ancient justice was all about finding truth. Modern legalism, it's about arguing over interpretation. One was rooted in spirit, the other is rooted in procedure. The goal wasn't balance anymore, it was about getting an advantage.
So who took over in this new world? Well, you've got politics, profit, the huge power of the state, and, of course, corporations. These became the new forces that shaped what we call law. Justice turned into a marketplace, a tool, all driven by what you might call the ultimate modern master, human arrogance.
So after all that doom and gloom, you might think that's the end of the story, but it's not. The source material pivots here to a final, really profound reflection. It's a call to conscience that asks, is this really the end?
And this is the world we live in now. This is the consequence. In a system that's detached from any higher truth, the law stops being a shield for the innocent. It can be turned into a weapon, used by whoever has the most power. We have plenty of justice systems, but the question is, do we actually have justice?
And this is where things get really interesting. It's almost a theological turn. What if the problem isn't that justice is gone? What if the problem is that our own cynicism, our own materialism has just made us blind to it? What if we're the ones who walked away and justice is still out there, waiting?
And this is the final, powerful message. If justice really is dead, then our legal institutions are just fancy tombs, monuments to a forgotten God. But the source here argues there's another path, a way to bring it back. And it won't come from some new law or political movement. It has to come from somewhere deeper, from individual conscience.
And that's really the thought I want to leave you with today. After this whole journey, from cosmic order all the way to corporate law, the final question turns inward, back on us. If the systems are broken, what's our personal responsibility? What does it actually mean for each of us to seek justice, not from a courtroom, but from within?
Knowledge transcends time. Truth endures.